Hello, everybody on Zoom, and hello, everybody on Facebook. It's wonderful to have you here today. We have a great artist and brand ambassador who you see almost every Thursday and Friday. Ashley, welcome, Ashley.
Thank you, John. Thanks,
Very,
everybody. It's
very
fun to be
welcome.
here.
We're going to see some of Ashley's work. Is that correct, Ethel?
Yes. And we also included in the slide today's photo reference that Ashley has kindly sent ahead of time and her palette, her usual palette. And in case you want to know what are the colors involved today, we could also post that in the chat. So I'm going to do a share screen. Let me just- I think most of our friends have started following Ashley, but I saw new names. So please welcome our guest artist, brand ambassador Ashley. She always joins. Yeah, John mentioned that part. In case you haven't followed her on IG, Instagram, please do so. This is her handle. And of course, she's also on Facebook. I think I have six artworks here. We start with this cute, very attention-grabbing artwork, Ashley. So
Yeah,
please
so
do.
this is Henry. So my daughter names all the pets I paint, even if they're just a reference photo. So this is Henry. He's a guinea pig. I have a student who brings me fun reference photos. So this was one that we did together, and I'm going to paint today. So we're going to have some fun. Another pet that I did, not a pet. I mean, you could have a raccoon as a pet. I would love that. But yeah, this is one I did with a student. I don't normally do a background, and I had a lot of fun with the background on this. Lots of undersea green in there. This is some sketchbook work from last July's World Watercolor Month. So we had color prompts, so quinacridone gold. And so I painted one of my sunflowers, went out in my front yard and sat in a chair as the sun came up. And this is just a good memory of that using watercolor sticks. Oh my gosh. So we had a really hard winter a couple years ago, and we were just inside the house. We couldn't go anywhere, and I was dying for some plain air. I didn't want to go. I mean, it was freezing outside, 4 feet of snow. So I was grabbing things around the house, anything I could find to just paint something that I saw. So we got the ramen noodles. That's one of my favorite sketchbook paintings. And then today's reference photo,
Mm.
like Ethel said, that'll be in the chat. This is from Unsplash, I believe. So it's copyright free. So you guys are welcome I would love it if you guys would paint along today. And then this is my palette. I know that people are going to ask, you'll have to kind of study it. This is kind of like my pet portrait, as you can see, pet portrait palette. These are colors that I use most often. And then we'll put in the chat the colors. I'm using 5 colors today to keep it kind of simple. But I know people like to know what's in my palette. So there you have it.
All righty.
That's awesome.
All
Very
right.
nice.
Let me switch cameras. I'm so excited. Thanks for being here, everybody. We've got a lot of people, and it's so fun. Let's switch over to desktop. Oh, hold on one second.
So on Facebook, I'm going to ask if Anna Marie and Angela and Letiza can bring over any questions that are asked. That'll be wonderful. And thank you very much.
All right.
Sure.
Here we go. Okay. So before I get started painting this, and I do want to start quickly because I have yet to ever finish one of a painting in a live session. But I just want to talk about kind of how important my process is in shooting my palette. I think that's a really vital part of the planning process, and I find it really enjoyable. So I just want to show you really quick an example. So here's one I did with the same student. She brings me the most fun animals to paint together. So this is Raiden, a goat at a farm nearby where she lives, and we painted Raiden together. And then she gifted it to the farm, the owner, Raiden's owner. And so before I even do any paint on paper, I'm gonna grab like a sketchbook, or as you can see here, sometimes I'll just do it on the side if I'm just doing a study. But I think it goes a long way to pick your palette out ahead of time, play around with what can you do with mixes, what can you do with hair textures, what, just to have an idea of what you're going to do. And then once you get started, it just makes the process so much more enjoyable and simple for me. And I'm a very organized, systematic person. It's not for everybody, but if you haven't, maybe you try it and see if you like it. Um, and then let's see, I think I can show you one more of those. It's so fun to look back on as well. I mean, I've got sketchbooks just completely full of the planning process, and they're just, maybe I don't even look back on them, but writing things down and having um just the act of writing it down, the act of swatching it out and mixing it out, it kind of solidifies it in your mind. And so the next time you go to paint something similar, you can remember that color mix, or you can grab your sketchbook and say, oh, what did I use? So for example, today I did not remember what I used. So this is my Henry. And then I want to show you my planning process. Now I did this with my student. So we were both just having a play. In fact, we figured out how to mix our own Potter's pink from the colors we had already chosen. So we kind of made like a Potter's pink um, type color here, which is it's just fun. I love to use all the convenience colors that we have and all the special, the Primatex and everything. But I do try to keep my palette kind of simple. I don't want to bring in like 10 colors. I try to keep it down to 5. So anyway, you can kind of see here, this was us playing with how are we going to achieve some of the hair textures that this guy's got. So we got a lot going on here. We figured out a really fun mix that I'm going to show you. So I already started on the eyes because, guys, I've painted eyes with you so many times. This one's really simple. I just filled in the darker area and then just did like a watery neutral tint. It is the best. So here's my little neutral tint. We've been through a lot together, and I love this stick so much. So I just want to show you. I know a lot of brand ambassadors do this, but I end up with this hollowed out hole. I don't even know if you guys can see that, but look, my brush goes in and it's like a little reservoir. So if you want instant pigment, these sticks are incredible. And so I was able to just grab from the stick. You guys want me to zoom in a little bit? I totally can. So if you guys need adjustment of camera, let me know. So instant pigment on that. Beautiful. And I don't hold them like Rajat, but we're all our own special, ways artists. Okay. What I really wanted to focus on today is kind of fur. And not necessarily for technique, which I will hit upon, but for the colors that I use for fur. And so, like I mentioned, one of my favorite mixes to get like a brindle, here's an example. I needed to paint like a brindle type for that like stripy. So I found a mix that I use for everything. So I'm going to show it to you. I'm so excited about it. Okay. So hematite genuine mixed with burnt umber. And those two together create this is the moment. I still have the scrap of paper I discovered it on. So what I really try to do is use the granulation of the paint and the properties of each pigment to create the textures that I want so that I don't have to sit and paint every little hair. Can you imagine if I had to sit and paint every little black hair? So the paint did the work for me. And then here's another swatch on different paper. Different paper gives you different results, as we've seen. So here's one that I kind of I dip my hand in my water and I flick it and it pushes pigment around. You get all kinds of cool stuff. So it depends on what you're going for. But remember that mixture and try it out. It is so cool. So there's those. So you see that granulation in the hematite. I love this because it's like a warm, it's got a warmth to it, but then you also get that almost lunar black-ish granulation. I just love that. Okay, so these are my colors I'm using today. I better get started. Um, I love Minnesota Pipestone Genuine. And the reason I'm going to bring that up first is I always paint eyes, then nose, then ears, then fur. So I have like a 5-step process. And by following that system, it really helps me to keep on the straight and narrow path so I don't end up going rogue and then hitting ugly phase really fast, which we've all been there. It's like, wait, what did you cover the whole thing with some color and then you're like, what have I done? What is life? So, but these are my pinks. So the one I'm going to be using today, like I said, is Minnesota Pipestone Genuine. And then this is Potter's Pink, just to give you kind of to show the difference. And then this is, I always say Piemontite. How do I say that, John? Is it Piemontite?
I say pigmentite.
Okay, Piemontite. I'll try. I mean, I'm set in my ways. I'm at the old age of 41. So these are my pinks. So anytime you have an animal with, the pink ears, the pink nose, the pink tongue, these are my tongue colors for sure. These 3 colors are just absolutely perfect. But today we'll focus on Minnesota Pipestone. Great for those cute little pink, the pink little nose that we're gonna do really quick. So I got my reference photo, and hopefully you guys should have that if you're wanting to paint along or paint it later. But I'm just gonna go straight in with my Minnesota Pipestone, and I want it kind of lighter because this nose is just such a delicate little pink nose. And I'm just going right in on dry paper. And if you don't have these colors, figure out what mix you could do that would give you the effect you're looking for. It's all fair play. There's our little nose. It's so cute. And then if you want to lift out, I love lifting. Lifting is the best. So a lot of people do wet and wet, like they'll put water down first. And I do use that sometimes. But my favorite technique is putting the paint on dry paper and then going back and softening edges and lifting just with a brush that's damp. Please interrupt me if you guys have questions. I will talk the whole time. And then while I have that color, I'm going to go do the cute little, I mean, guys, the world is crazy right now. And this little guy is just pure sunshine today. We all need this. Just paint a guinea pig. So I'm just making a watery mix. Now, oftentimes when I have hair, he's got little hairs coming down over his mouth. I'll just kind of do a negative painting. I'll kind of pull the paint up a little bit so that it almost looks like there's the hairs. And then I actually need to I'm going to use the same color around the eyes. I like to darken it a little bit. I could use the Potter's Pink or the Piemontite, but if I just add a little neutral tint to this one, because I'm already using neutral tint for the eyes, I might as well use what I have on my palette to show you. So here's a little watery neutral tint. I'm going to mix it with the Minnesota Pipestone, and it gives me the color that I'm looking for. So here, let's put that there. Do you see how it's just darker? Neutral tint is amazing. I mean, you can get so many, it's magic. I use it by itself for black, but I also mix a ton. If you want like a beautiful like moss green, you can add neutral tint to quinacridone gold, and it's stunning. I don't think she's here, but shout out to Lowell. She made these little pots for watercolor sticks, and they're amazing. So thank you, Lowell. I'm gonna mix up some more. One of the hardest things I think for me is mixing up enough. This is a struggle. It always has been a struggle. Am I mixing up enough paint for the area I'm painting? I always end up having to go back. Yeah, I have a lot of practice of mixing. All right. So there's that. I really try to simplify. I think that that's one of the most important things you can do if you're, I mean, there's realism, and if you're really wanting to get, I have students who love painting every hair and that's their style. And I love that. That's great. I don't enjoy that. So what I like to do is this is Procreate. I will blur the reference photo either with my eyes, like I'll just kind of make it out of focus, or use the blur tool so that I don't see every little hair, and I can kind of, as I'm starting out, I can focus on the values. And then if you want to get into more values, you can see the values by turning it black and white. That's how I simplify. Um, that's, I think, the biggest reason we get overwhelmed with paintings is looking at all the little details. Okay, so now we've got ears, and we've got this. Here we are again. This is just, oh my gosh, you guys, this color is so versatile.
So, Ashley,
It is
which paper are you
yeah.
using? Which
This
paper
is
are you?
Fabriano. Yeah, this is Fabriano Artistico soft press.
Oh, right. Thank you.
Yep. It's the best. Okay, so I'm gonna paint this ear. I'm going in on dry paper. So I kind of do the dark areas first. I know Sylvia Trad paints similarly. She'll kind of do the shadows first and then come in and blend it. So you'll see what I'm going to do. I cleaned my brush. It's just damp. And I'm just blending that out. I don't know why I do it per se. It just feels right. And when it feels right, you get used to it. You know what? Since I have burnt umber here and I want like a darker pink, I'll just grab some burnt umber and add it and drop that in. So now I'm doing wet and wet. I love burnt umber. It is a staple. I've got burnt umber and ultramarine blue on my dot card. And they make, as we all probably know, they make the most beautiful gray. All right. I'm gonna let that dry for a second while I go do this ear, and then I'll come back and do the lighter area. Remember, I said that if there's hairs coming out in front of the object that you're painting, you're going to do kind of a negative thing, and you'll get back to it later, but let's just fill that in. I try not to paint unless I'm doing the eyes or like the nose. I try to kind of keep it moving, keep going fast, because once I slow down, that's when I get too tedious and my paintings end up looking really stiff. And I will say also, I always start with a smaller brush, as you saw. I had a smaller brush for the eyes. It's like a size, let's see, size 4. And then as I go on as I get into fur, I should say, the brushes get bigger because I want to be looser. I love the realism in the details, the eyes, the nose, the ears, that kind of stuff. But with fur, I want that loose, expressive feeling. So I'm just dropping in a little burnt umber, and you guys are so quiet today, but to be fair, I'm not giving you a chance to talk. There we go. And we'll have to darken. As you guys know, as you go along and your painting dries, it lightens up and you go, wait a minute, where did my color go? It's just the nature of watercolor, and you just have to layer. My ear's mostly dry, so I'm going to come in and put a lighter pink. And then now that the nose is dry, I'm going to do that neutral tint mix again. And there's a little burnt umber in there, but it's fine. It adds to the excitement. It's kind of like cooking. I look at it like cooking, you can follow a recipe all day long and follow it to a T. But once you get good at cooking, you just a little of this, a little of that, and you start to experiment. And I think that's the same with painting. Just play. So look at that color. I'm going to just put that down. That's not what I'm looking for. But if I accidentally make a mix, I usually document it or play with it and see what it could be used for. But I'm wanting I think this could work. Maybe a little more Minnesota pipestone.
So Ashley, neutral tint to you is like black pepper, huh?
Yeah, I gotta throw a little bit of that. Gotta put some pepper in it for sure. I probably should have switched to a smaller brush for the nostrils, but it's fine. Let me make it work. And then we'll kind of grab some mix in the outline. Okay, one of the other things that you'll see me do is I use my finger a lot to like dab things around. I just started doing it one day and I like it. So brings me back to my finger painting days as a child.
Ashley,
Yeah.
Bella says you're very brave for wearing a white long sleeve blouse.
That's what my husband said.
Well
Thank
done.
you. Hey, I look at it this way. It's a canvas. It's just another canvas.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it.
And if we want to get technical, it's cream colored. So that gives me a little more a little more safety. All right. Guys, keep me updated on time. I know where we're at right now, but I really want to get to the fur because that's kind of my focus today. Okay.
37 minutes.
You're
Left.
amazing. Thank you so much. You're hired. Okay. I'm going to get into fur, and so I'm going to get into big brushes. And this is my favorite brush for fur. If you want to know what it is, I think Letty can put it in the chat or something. I really want to focus on painting, but it's like a Chinese style brush, and you can flatten. Lorena Massa taught me this. You can flatten it and kind of splay it out like that. And then you see how like I can really play with getting some more of the fur textures. But for the first layer, I just go crazy. So I'm ready to show you guys. So we've got white fur here. So when we have white fur, we're going to do shadows. And I usually pick like a gray. I'll use neutral tint, and I'll tint the neutral tint and lean it like warmer or cooler, depending on what temperature the shadows are. So, and then you can choose if you want the temperature to be warm or cool. But you can use the eyedropper tool and you can look at it and go, oh my gosh, it's a green shadow. I'm not going to do that. That's the reflection of the grass we're getting. And I don't really want any of that green in there. So I'm just going to make my own kind of like a warm gray for those shadows. And I'll start under his little chin, his cute little chin here. Let me grab another one of these. Oh, so even though I use a tiny brush and I make a well in the top of the stick, the bottom of the stick is for making a wash. So I can use these, or I can use something flat. I literally will dip this in my water. So I just dipped it, or add a little, oh my gosh, my spray bottle is like dying on me. Add a little water to your palette, your well. I love ceramic for this. And then look at that, instant pigment. And then that way I can get a wash if I want. I do have neutral tint squeezed out on my palette over here, but this is fun. Look at that. I mean, it's like instant. And then I'll dab that. I'll clean it off on my towel. I'll just kind of dab it so that it doesn't get on everything else. And now I've got neutral tint. So I don't want it that dark for what I'm doing though. So I'm gonna grab some of it and put it here with some water. I could use this by itself as a shadow, but it is a little more leaning like cool, a little more like leaning violet. And so I'm gonna add a little of my burnt umber to it. It's one of my other favorite mixes. Watch how we warm that up. And then add a little water if it's too intense. And we'll get there. We'll get there. We have to have patience. So now I've got a couple options. If it's too warm, add a little more back in. A little of this, a little of that. All right. For the under the chin shadows, I'm going to go ahead with this size 10 and negative painting again. We're just kind of pulling it up in. So anytime we've got white fur, I'm going to look at shadows. That's our color. White is very rarely actually white. It's usually got some, because it's reflective and it's reflecting light. And so, it's with watercolor, we don't add white. And some people do, and you can. Creative license, you can do what you want. But in general, we keep the white of the paper. And see, now I've got my little shadow. He's got a little cute white patch here. And it still feels a little cooler than I want, and that's okay. I can just grab some burnt umber. Mixing is just so fun. I absolutely love it. I've had students who, I think it's scary at first. It can feel overwhelming. And I've had them say like, oh, I hate swatching and I hate mixing. And I get them by the end, they love it, but it is just, that's the joy of it, I think, is learning and playing and just having fun. So let's get and what's crazy about painting white is you'll feel like it's too dark. Like looking at this initially, you'll feel it's too dark. But once everything else is filled in, it'll just suddenly come alive, especially if you've got like a really fun background. The white area will pop. So even though this is all white, I'm going to tint it. We've got white up here on the top of his cute little fuzzy head. I have something I call dirty water. So I don't know if you guys have heard of like the butter, milk, tea, consistency, the thickness of paint. I feel like past tea, there's got to be like one more because I'm constantly using like a really light, for whites especially. I just call it dirty water because a lot of times, and I'm not literally saying dip your brush in your dirty paint water. You sure could. You'd get whatever surprise of mix is in there. But more than anything, it's mostly water with just the lightest. So I'll even like add water and then just kind of like almost like dirty brush water. And dirty water has become like one of my favorite things. It's fun. Okay. So I want to get into the other fur while we still have time. We're making good time. I feel like I'm racing. It's not that I need to finish this. I probably won't finish it, but I really want to show you guys this fur mixture. So I'm going to go ahead and dry the white areas. And luckily my dryer is quiet enough that I can still hear you guys.
Time check, it's about, now you have half an hour, 30 minutes.
Thank you. You're amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ashley, in the chat, somebody's mentioning weak tea. Maybe that's the term you're
Weak
looking
tea.
for.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Dirty
David.
water just sounds fun. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. Weak tea. Herbal tea. I don't know. All right. So we've got our white. I'm constantly looking at my reference photos over here. So that's why I'm turning my head, but I'm constantly, the whole time I'm painting, looking back and forth. But that doesn't mean I can't change stuff. Like if this isn't somebody's pet I'm doing as a commission, I can do what I want. I could make him black and white. I could, that's that creative license that I'm talking about, is we can change it up. I can make him purple if I want, but it's really helpful to see the values. So turning it black and white, looking at your reference in black and white, is so valuable, especially if you do start getting more comfortable with playing with color. So I don't have to be like, oh, this is brown, this is tan, this is whatever. I can just say, okay, well, we've got shadow areas. I need to make sure that those are going to be darker. It's darker under here, and his eyes are the darkest value there. And then I see the lightest value is top of his. I just look at the top of his head. Come on, that's just. Ugh. I like to look at him. I don't think I want to have one as a pet. Maybe when I was a kid, but I got too many animals right now. All right, let's play with that hematite and burnt umber magical mix. Okay, so I have two options. Hematite comes in watercolor stick form. And so I can go ahead and I've got water right here. I actually my stick has salt on the bottom of it, and I don't remember why, but it's salty. So we might get a surprise. But hematite it's a you'll notice that some paints, like some of the minerals, some of the Primatech, they just take a minute longer to activate. They just need a little more time to wake up. And so sometimes I will sit it there for just a second and let the end of it. So this side is for using my brush. This side I use for making those mixes. Because I feel like I use more of it on this end. And this is totally just a practical thing. I don't want to lose the name on the label. If I have to start peeling the label, I'd rather start peeling it from the back end. I know it's just a thing. I made the mistake of taking labels off watercolor sticks. I'll show you. Don't do it. Because then I was like, oh shoot, what is this? So I had to relabel the nickel as a yellow. So you want the labels, they're important. Okay, so look, we're starting to get that mixture. And I'm gonna let that sit while I grab my burnt umber. And burnt umber's a stick too. So
Ashley,
we can just, yeah.
I found a way to preserve the name on the stick with tape. Like you can use like a clear tape, like a mailing tape,
Uh-huh.
or just a nice masking or a scotch tape. And it
Yeah.
keeps the name clean, even if your stick
Oh,
gets a little bit watery.
oh
Because
my
mine do.
goodness. Thank you. Yeah, they get messy, and it's a beautiful thing. But yeah, I agree. I
Yeah,
love it
because
when
we're
they get
playing.
messy. I mean, they're well used, well loved. I dropped these in a river. I was painting plein air, and I had my camping chair in the river so that my feet could be in it. And my bag tipped over, and all my sticks were like, bye bye. And so I was chasing them down. Luckily, it was a very shallow stream, and I was able to save my sticks. But that would have been great if I'd had tape on them. All right. Thank you for that. I love suggestions.
You
We all
know,
love learning.
there will come a time that you will have to take the name off because you'll use it so much. And that means time for a new one.
Yes. I see Reba's question. She asked if there's an advantage to using the stick over the dry. The advantages are that, I mean, they're really portable. So especially if you're doing plein air or you just don't want to pack a palette or tubes, they're just super simple and easy. I also feel like they just they pack the pigment really quickly. Whereas tube paint, like you put it in your palette, you let it dry, it's kind of the same thing. Um, it's just versatile. It just depends on what you're looking for. That's the advantage for me. But like I said, I have them all on my palette. This is just easy. I just grab it. It's here. It's great when I'm teaching as well, so people can see what I'm doing. So always make sure you have like a sketchbook or scrap of paper on the side so you can test your mixes. That's too gray for me. And so I can just add a little more of this. It's really sad because I see a lot of like YouTube channels and stuff where they'll get the sticks and they will try to draw with them. They're not intended for drawing. You can use them that way. You can use them for texture and things, but they're really meant to be kind of like it's a pen in your hand. And so you can just hold it and activate it and away you go. They're really fun. Great question. Okay, so that's really dark. I'm just gonna go like this and see what I can get by pulling it out. Okay. Go ahead, and I've got a ton on my palette over here. I'm going to add more over here. So I guess the advantage would be like if you need a lot, like let's say you're doing a massive painting like Rajat is, he's making a huge like mural painting, you're going to need a lot. Like you're going to need even bigger than this, maybe, I don't know. It depends on how big you're painting. And then if you need a ton of paint in one sitting, then it's, tube paint or whatever is good. It just depends. So I'm going to make a lot of this because he's got a lot of fur. I have not found a color that does this by itself. Like these two are just an amazing mix. It's really thick, but that's kind of what I want because I'm going to be adding water. Okay. I'm going to grab my fancy Chinese brush. I guess that's what they are. It's just like a Chinese calligraphy. It's actually literally says drawing and writing on it. So it's made for like the Chinese calligraphy. See how like the pigments are already, I don't know if you guys can see this. They're already like separating because some pigments are heavier and those hematite, they're going to settle. And that's what we want. That's what gives us those black hairs that we're looking for. Oops. And if we splatter, it's fine. Grab your brush. I do it all the time. You can just do this. And I use my finger. I use a paper towel to lift it back off. And then if it's in an area that you actually wanted it, use it. So some of these, I think what I actually did, now I'm remembering, I actually did a warm base. So I need to follow my own plan here. What I did was I used one of my other colors today, Mars Yellow. It's like a yellow ochre type color. There's like let me show you. There's so many fun. I don't know any other brand that has as many yellow ochre type colors as Daniel Smith. And so you have options. But I have played with them for so long to try to find the one for pet fur. And I used to use the transparent yellow oxide. And I actually have since switched to, I'll do raw sienna light or Mars yellow. And this one packs a punch. And so you can water it out and get that beautiful yellow ochre type color. It's the best. Okay, since this is loaded with the paint I'm going to use in a minute, I'm not going to use this. I don't want to lose all that delicious pigment. So I'm going to grab another big brush. And I'm going to go ahead and put my base down of Mars yellow. So here's that beautiful color. And if it's too intense, sometimes I will grab the burnt umber to kind of just tone it down a little bit. Another great color for this is raw sienna. But yeah, this one's just beautiful. There, I got the perfect watery mix. I'm just going to quickly put down like a base on his whole fur, because if you look at the reference, if you have that, the hairs, there's like a warmth to it. I don't want to add this to the hematite mix because then it's going to change the color of it. So I'm going to do a first layer of this. And I'll focus on the face for now. And I got to avoid the white nose. He's got the cutest little white patch on his face here. And we'll just pull it. Funny, I painted this like 2 months ago, I want to say, with my student, and I would not remember for the life of me any of this. I would not remember the colors I used, the mixes. I would not remember that I used this first, because I did. You saw, I almost forgot. So having that record was awesome. So before I started painting today, I was able to pull out my sketchbook and find it and remember what I used. So great tool. Okay. There, now we've got kind of that warmth that we're gonna need as we do our magic mix on top. And that way, so we've got this base, I'm gonna let it dry, and then I'm gonna come in with my magic mix. And what's gonna happen is as the pigments separate, like the hematite and the burnt umber is a beautiful granulator. It just has a different granulation pattern. Like it looks like leather to me. What's going to happen is as those separate, they will reveal the warmth underneath. Because this can be complicated if you look really close. Do you see how, like, I would have to sit and paint hairs all day. And I don't have to do that now. I'm giving the idea of each little hair by using the pigments to my advantage and the properties that they have. If I didn't want that and I wanted something smooth, I'm going to use a transparent, non-granulating color. So that's why it's really important, but also fun to understand what each of these do. Okay, let's get this baby dry. And I actually could go ahead and like do this warm color all over. But for the sake of time, we'll focus on his cute little face. Oh, I gotta grab a paper towel. Okay. Before I do that, one little thing is this is bugging me that I went over the white. So I'm going to use like a scrubber lifting eradicator type brush. And it's going to be damp. And I'm just going to go back in. This is like if you want a lighter area and you went too far. It just lifts that pigment back up. So I have found that just cutting a brush can work too. This is just like a synthetic, just a good synthetic brush, and just cut it really short. And that gives you whatever size you want. You don't have to go out and buy expensive brushes made for that, in my opinion. You can just, even like cheap acrylic brushes from the craft store are great for kind of doing the scrubbing and lifting. So such a great tool to have. I used to think that lifting was for when you made a mistake. And now I see it more as just a really great tool to have in your toolbox. And you can even like get little hair effects as well. It's fabulous. Like here, if I wanted to go lighter, I'm being a very messy painter today, and that's fine. We're here for it. I feel like my paintings turn out better kind of the faster I go, because then I'm not being tedious and getting obsessive with it. Because I very easily can become obsessive about little details. So art for me has been such a great way to fight my perfectionism and to just kind of go like, let go, breathe, have fun, play, because it doesn't come naturally to me. Okay. I don't know what happened. Things happened while I was painting the layer. So we're gonna just come back. Got our mix. I like it. I'm gonna do a little more leaning burnt umber. I want that like brown feeling, but with the little black hairs. See, look at me. Look at me. I'm just splattering. We're good. Okay. So I'm gonna start in a shadow area just cause you don't have to have a brush like this to do. I mean, you can just figure out what you have, but you can take any brush and splay it out and get yourself some. I just like this one because it goes, flat. You got to figure out what works for you. But let's get in there. And they do make brushes for this purpose. And these were sent to me, so I didn't buy. I don't think I would buy something like this just because I've been doing it on my own for so long, and you can figure things out without going and spending a ton of money on like I don't want to say gimmicky. I think somebody's mic is on. Sometimes people will ask this. So there's white whiskers on this guy's face, and there have been times where I used a masking fluid. Dinosis masking fluid is fantastic. It has a great applicator, and I can just take that applicator and do whiskers. I was going to do that today. I just don't have time. But we don't really have to do that. I can use like some white wash or even the white watercolor stick to at the end if I want white whiskers. This guy doesn't really, it wouldn't pop as much as it would say on like a black cat or something. And see how just I'm playing with just dabbling. I'm just dabbling my brush around and getting, you can pull it out. You can, if you want like longer little hairs. And then sometimes I'll drop water in where I want some more texture and granulation. Let's get some shadow area here. Now I'm doing wet and wet. Once I've got a water base, I can start dropping in and do wet and wet that way. And we'll come over here. And if you're getting like, rather than getting the texture, you're getting just like these watery blobs, dab your brush on your towel. It just means you have too much. See, that's a little too much. If I dab it, then I can start getting the actual, like it's almost like dry brush kind of. Now, as I get like down into chest areas and I don't know, under chin areas, I don't worry as much. I want to say, okay, where's kind of the focal point of an animal? If you're doing a portrait of an animal, the focal point is usually the eyes, nose, maybe the ears. And so I'll put like hair textures around the focal point, but the rest of it, I'll just show you really quick what I do. I don't even worry about any of that. And this is usually the last step that I'll do, but I'll take that same color and just start going crazy. Grab some more. See, I still didn't mix enough. It's just a thing. See, and then we can start playing with that beautiful wet and wet. Get crazy. Brush is very wet. Hard part is remembering where you've got your white patches so you don't end up going over them. And then the back of him, I'm just going to do this color. This is that Mars yellow. We're just having fun now. I'm going to take some water from my water pot and I'm splatter. I love doing this. Breaks those pigments apart. It pushes them. I don't know if you guys can see what it's doing, but the hematite particles kind of just dispersed. So it's just really fun to play around with that. And then
Ashley?
yeah.
Sorry, 9 minutes. I
No,
got
you're good.
too immersed following you and I forgot the time check. 9 minutes.
Oh my gosh, you're fired. I'm just kidding. Thank you so much. All right. So once you've got paint down, keep going over that ear. It's wet, and that's your wet and wet base. And then you can start dropping more in where you need it. I don't know why I'm holding this. You ever do that? You get so into painting that you have something, your tongue's hanging out. Sometimes I'll catch myself with my tongue out. That's when you know it's good, is that you're just so in the zone, you forget what the world disappears. I think that's why we like painting. Is it just, your breathing slows down. And if it's stressing you out and you're uptight, then that's something that you can start, almost like a therapeutic tool. You can start working on, okay, my paintings are stiff because I'm stiff, maybe. Do I need to play more? Do I need to relax and not take it so serious? You cannot take it so serious. All right, and then this area, I really want to pop in a little bit of darker. I'll show you how the hair texture brushes work. They're called grainer brushes. They come in all sizes. There's all kinds of brands out there. If you guys are interested in what I'm using, you can actually message me on Instagram or something. I'd be happy to answer anything. And I have a YouTube channel as well. If you guys want to learn more, that's there. I'm not active, but it's there. It exists. So these kind of just do what I did by splaying my bristles. But that's, the intention. They take a little practice, And then you can also take this brush, or like I said, splay your brush out, and you can actually go into wet areas and pull. Just get yourself some, and that gives you a beautiful dry brush. I forgot to paint the hair on his chinny chin chin. Let's see, where's my gray?
Ashley, we have a beautiful comment from Maureen in the Zoom chat. Ashley, I think the happiness and contentment in this wee creature can only add to a lightness of spirit. It has for me. Plus, this is a very good painting. Lovely, really, Maureen.
Oh, Maureen, thank you. I love that. This wee creature. So now I'm doing some negative painting. I'm bringing that up. I actually had to dip my brush in, but if you're somebody who you love those little hairs and you want to get down to the nitty gritty, you can actually do that with this technique, these brushes, just whatever you want to do, whatever your style is. I like more of a suggestive style myself. But it's all just fun. See, it's just fun. I don't know how many more times today I can say it, but it's just such a delight. I want to know if you guys painted along. We have 5 minutes left, and please be sure to let us know.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Yes, we did.
Yay. I love it. Oh, I wanted to mention, see how this white kind of disappeared? The white shadows disappeared on us. You find that you'll have to go back sometimes and darken it. I'd rather go back and darken than end up being too dark at first. And some people are opposite. Some people are like, no, I just want to get in there. I don't want it to disappear. I want instant color. But do you see how I said, like, as soon as all these are there, that will make sense? But mine actually legitimately disappeared. So we're just gonna bring that back in. This is Ashley fast painting mode. So when I'm doing this on my own, I usually spend 2 to 3 hours on a pet portrait. And sometimes I walk away, I go for a walk. I will sleep on it and come back. There's just nothing like coming back to a painting after a good night's sleep and looking at it with fresh eyes. But for today's purpose, we speed paint. So I think that's all I wanted to touch on today. Does anybody have any more questions? Thank you, Susan.
Ashley, I don't know if somebody asked you this question about WH, what is it? Like a masking fluid. Dr. P.H. Martin's bleed proof white for whiskers.
Oh, yeah. It's just an opaque water-based paint that you can use for whiskers and things. But lately, I've just been using it. Can dry up in the thing, and I've stopped using that. Where's my watercolor sticks? This thing. And white gouache. Daniel Smith's got an amazing titanium white gouache that also works beautifully. But if you're trying to avoid moving away from watercolor and trying to keep it with just watercolor, you can see this titanium white because it gives you that really thick, almost opaque pigment. So if I want to do like a whisker or let's say there's an eye highlight, this is fabulous for that. So I got my tiny brush. This is about as tiny as I ever go, is this size 4. But I've used this to splatter, like I did when I was in Germany. I did like a snowscape with it snowing, and I sat in my hotel room and like used this stick to splatter. And it gave me that really delicious pigment. So let's say I wanted an eye highlight right there. This guy doesn't have any highlights. Technically, he doesn't have like a focused highlight. He has highlights, but you know what I'm saying. But if I needed that, then now he just looks like he's possessed. It's fine. If you don't like it, you just take your damp brush and you say bye-bye.
He's too cute. And we got Valentina who painted along. I just saw here. Oh, look.
Oh my gosh, I love it, Valentina. What colors did you use for the green?
I used jaded and phthalo yellow green.
I love it. Anna Marie
Oh,
is so cute.
Oh, that's nice, Anna Marie.
So cute.
Ashley, you're a
my
great
gosh.
teacher. It's been a lot of fun to
Thank
see how you're just
It's
getting
nice to
really
hear.
comfortable and confident here.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. Ella,
one more.
Anna.
There's one more. Rupa. Let's add. I saw Rupa's artwork here.
Oh my gosh, Anna. I like the strong values you have, Anna, in the
Oh,
it's
thank you.
just
Thank you for a lovely demo, Ashley. Fired and all.
Yeah, thanks for being. Yeah, of course. Thanks for being here, guys.
What
Oh my
beautiful.
goodness.
A new
Oh,
sharer.
So many
Connie.
people.
My
This is
God.
great.
Gosh, Dawn, Elizabeth, I love it. Diane.
Oh my God.
Rebas.
Oh,
Oh my
very nice.
gosh.
Very
Reba,
beautiful.
it's good to see you. We follow each
Oh,
other
yeah,
and we talk,
Ashley.
but it's good to
Finally,
see
I'm
you.
on Zoom. Finally.
Yay, you made it. Oh, thank you guys.
Those are wonderful.
We had 7 shares today. And
Oh, wow.
3
That's why
new.
you guys were so quiet today because you're all focusing.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Hi, Anya.
Look at that.
We'll add in John's frame now. Okay, there you go. So
Beautiful.
that John can say bye-bye. And thank you.
It's so great when you show your work. Thank you, everybody.
It is. We love it.
Thank you,
Thank
Ashley.
you.
Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody on Facebook and
you.
Zoom.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
See you all
Thank
next
you.
week.
Thank you,
Wonderful
Ashley.
weekend.
Bye bye.
Wonderful
Thank you, John.
weekend.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Ashley.
Bye, John.
Great job, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Great to